Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Build Computers. We're doing a gaming build today, and we've got all of this stuff that we're going to put in here. I've got my friend and guest host with me today, and he's going to be doing the build, and we should end up with a really nice little compact computer here. So, what we've already done, we've taken this panel off, and we have removed the buttons and turned over the power button and reset button. So you'll notice these are upside down in relation to the case at the moment. So when we put this panel on the other side of the case, they'll end up being the right way up, and that will put all this I/O panel on the left-hand side of the case, which makes it accessible for the desk that it's going to be sitting at. So that's why these look upside down at the moment, because we've reversed them deliberately. It's also put the USB ports the correct way up, because an annoyance thing is normally these ports would be the other way up, which actually means when you go to plug anything into them, you're putting in your plug upside down, which might seem stupid, but personally I think that's really annoying. However, it's a minor annoyance. So far, first impressions of this case are the build quality on it is really good. It's very heavy, the side panels are heavy, the case itself is surprisingly heavy, but it's a very reassuring, solid kind of heavy. Whereas most of the time small cases like this tend to be a bit flimsy and a bit flexible. So the other great thing is that more or less all the panels on this case, all of this drive cage, everything can all be removed. So if you want to go for an ultra clean look, which is what we really want for this build, then you can just remove everything you don't need. And there's like a dozen places you can mount your SSDs and things like that. So we're going to be able to get rid of all of these bits that are in the way and have a nice big open interior. So we're going to just start off by taking off all these panels now. So we'll take off the other panel as well, and we'll take out all these cages and stuff. Oh, that's interesting. It does have the 5.25 bay on the front.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think it's the same chassis pretty much as the Prodigy. Okay, so and obviously that's got a drive bay. I think. Well,
it's a face. It's basically a facelift, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it shares some panels.
Yeah. It's interesting they put that there while there isn't actually a thing on the front panel.
But I have seen people mod it and cut it out. So
yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, no one uses a DVD drive anymore, but you might want to put a fan controller there or something like that. Yeah, that's
what I've seen people.
Because there are some really. Because I think a fan controller is a really nice way of just finishing the front of the computer. But it depends what you're looking for. Some people like that really clean, flat look, whereas some people want a couple of bells and whistles there.
I just got this out because I bought this on eBay, so I could get it a bit closer to the wall.
You would,
because I'm
in
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other mod, I had to spin that round, you see, because otherwise it went that way.
Oh.
So I've done a few little modifications.
Yeah. To be honest,
show you that.
These are nice things though, just because it is really nice.
Look, that's good, isn't it? Because otherwise it'd be out here.
Yeah, it's true.
See, so.
Although bear in mind, your DVI cable was going to come out to about there.
Look, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Okay,
and I've never seen a 90-degree DVI cable, so
just you know.
I suppose you could get a 90-degree HDMI cable.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
In white,
and I will do that. Yeah, and I will do that.
Okay, right. So let's get cracking. So we've taken off all the side panels for this thing now. Now we've already fitted a couple of extras to this. This big 240, is 240? 230. This big 230mm fan isn't standard, but it's available as a separate thing that you can buy, and it's more or less, it's designed to go in this case practically. This is the Fenix Spectre Pro. So putting one of these at the bottom of the case is practically a no-brainer because it just gives you that big, massive through-flow fan. We've opted to put it in an exhaust position, and the reason why we've done that is because normally your bottom fans would be intake and your top and rears would be exhaust. But the thing is by putting it this way around, we stop the computer from hoovering up all the dust that's underneath it. Whereas normally, if you have it intaking at the bottom and exhausting out the top, it's just going to hoover up all the dust and grit that's on the floor or on your desk. So that's why these fans are in a reverse position. So if I just turn it around so you can see, that's pointing downwards, and the top fans that have been fitted are pointing downwards as well. Right.
So I'm guessing it's to do with the orientation. I don't, obviously I haven't got experience with cases in any way, but I don't know if this is a standard orientation for the motherboard, because the way that this is mounted,
yeah,
the
that's
graphics
upside
card
down.
there, the graphics card fans will be facing down.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
So the intake has to be on the top, I think. Otherwise, they'll be competing against each other.
That does make
hence the dust filter here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not experienced this at all.
Yeah.
When you said to me, oh yeah, heat wise is at the top, that made perfect sense. And I was like, well, why is this back to front? And I did some research. Well, I looked at the reviews and.
No matter, despite the amount of time we've spent looking at this case on the internet, and despite looking at all the pictures, and even now, it's not until you just mentioned it suddenly clicked to me that the motherboard's upside down. Yeah. So which is not a bad thing. It's not.
I think it's just the way that they've, because it's unusual as well, I believe, to have the power supply at the front.
Oh yeah, this is batshit crazy.
So the exhaust for the power supply.
That's going down as well,
And so they use the front as not in this case because there's no room for fans, but as you can see, you've got this only small amount of vents on the sides.
That would
but you
be
don't
enough.
really need it really, because obviously you've got they mainly use the intake.
Yeah, that's
because if you look at the other one, the Mini ITX, it is completely different, and it's all a bit of an ugly. It's weird.
It's what I don't like about
that. And the motherboard's sat this way, and the fans are on the side. It's horrible, but
that. Because what's the Mini ITX one called again?
Well, they do them both. They do the Prodigy and this Phenom in two versions. Yeah. So you can get them both in micro or mini.
That's what I don't like about the Prodigy, because the Prodigy is almost as big as this case, but because you're dropping down to Mini ITX, you immediately
they do a micro ATX with Prodigy as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So you've got two options in both cases, and the layout of the Prodigy in the micro is identical to this. Absolutely identical. So if you were going to buy the Prodigy, you'd get it in the micro. Yeah. Because there's no benefit in getting the Mini because it's the same size chassis. Yeah. As far as I can see it, unless you've got the components already.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's what I didn't understand when I first looked at it.
Either way, I think this is definitely
a lot.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think this is the best way around to do it.
And you said about getting a big cooler for the top.
Yeah.
Well, you can fit one in. But the trouble is, it's deep, and then you have to mount the graphics card lower.
Yes, but that much being said, if I just remove the top thing again, I think you could black the fans on top.
You can do, but you need to get slimline ones. You need to get little tiny, and people have done it. Yeah. But I've not done any research.
Yeah, that's what you do.
You can get
slim fans.
Yeah. I think you have to get less than 20 mil, like.
Can be done. Failing that, you could opt for a slim radiator, because if you're doing a custom setup, you can get low-profile rads, and you could put low-profile rad on top of the fans there, which would look awesome.
I did look at it, but the coolant's got to go right over the top, and it just made sense to do it in this configuration. So you've got plenty of room down here, so you can get your graphics card up here. So this space is kind of a bit more empty. So
these are nice big open space where the CPU is.
It looks a bit nice as well. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, there's a heat pipe between them as well, which is nice. So they're more than just cosmetic, those. Yeah. Right, so that's going to go in there. So we've got those bottom two there. So we're going to need that one there. Yeah. And then we're going to need there, and there. Right, so it's offset from the corner, and we're missing the back right corner. So let's take that out again. Yeah, let's put that around so it's facing you, so you've got the angle on it. There we go. Right, okay, so off you go. So what you want to do is, so ports face to there, and you want to put it in ports first. So you want to poke the audio ports through the holes at the back. and then lay it down. Yeah, hold it by the heat sinks if you need to. Yeah, that's looking good. And just set that down. And yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, that's fine. Now you'll probably need to push it up against the back while you put the first screw in. Oh no, it is lining up actually.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yep, so get one screw in there. Don't tighten it fully, just get it in there just so it's just before bite point. And that just means we've got a little bit of wiggle room. I'm glad you opted to go for this one, just because we were going to just drop down to that gigabyte, which was not unattractive, but it just wasn't pretty.
The thing is, you know, I wanted to go through the options, but at the end of the day, if I was going to do this, there was no point in just
half-assing it.
In going cheap.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go all out because I feel like
but.
Be overkill for age of empires, wouldn't it?
To be honest, I often say to people, you know, spec up for your budget and then go ever so slightly over, to be honest.
Would you have, if you were doing a build for yourself, what would you have purchased?
Something almost identical to this, to be honest.
You wouldn't have gone i7?
No.
Would you have gone the graphics card up? Would you have gone 980?
I don't think the i7 isn't really necessary unless you need that brute force, which you don't on a gaming rig. A workstation needs it, but the i7 is a premium. You know, we were looking at, it was another 150 pounds to go up to an i7, wasn't it? I think it was substantially extra because
it was definitely 100.
Yeah, we had a look to see if we could get it up to an i7. We just said nope, forget that. You know. I would have really, and again, I'd love to push for a GTX 970, but again, it was another £100 to get up to the 970, and the 960 is still a cracking graphics card. So, you know, I mean, it's faster than what I have, and I'm very happy with my graphics card at the moment. I've got well, I would like a new graphics card, but I don't need a new graphics card.
It's perfectly capable for what
I mean, everyone wants a new graphics card at any given time, you know, just because cards like the 980 Ti exist, you know, which is just obnoxiously fast. Now, the next thing I'd recommend, next thing we want to do is get the power supply in, because that's the big bulky thing that's going to dictate a lot of the cable routing for this. So let's break out the power supply. Cool. Alright, so what's going to happen is we've got this adapter plate that goes onto the power supply like that. We screw that in and then the whole lot fits into the case. So yeah, we'll have the fan facing into the computer because that serves two purposes. It's another exhaust fan blowing stuff out the bottom, and B, it puts the bundle of wires from the power supply at the back of the case, which is going to make it look tidier. That's good. That doesn't take up as much space as I thought it would. I thought the power supply was going to just dominate the interior of the case, but it actually sits there really nicely. Right, I want to run this cable through this cheeky little gap down here. Right, now if we spin that back round. So now, as you can see, we've just come out in the bottom right there, and we can just go straight onto that plug, and that cable is invisible. That'll do. Okay. Lovely.
Nice.
And then we've got this crazy little affair down here. That goes in like that. And there we go. There's our power supply.